Okay, and welcome back to UKSG Red 2023. This event, we're raising money for Crisis. You can donate with the links below the stream. We would also like to shout out ESA and BSG for their continued support. Now, it's time for Rebel Dragon, running Yakuza 3 Remastered. Excited to see what this one's all about, so take it away.
Alright, cool. Hey, I'm RebelDragon95. Welcome to Yakuza 3. I'll talk more about Yakuza 3 when I'm playing, so if you're ready to start on time, I can go in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So, this is Yakuza 3. This is specifically the PS4 version, but I'm playing it on a PS5 because I'm bougie like that. Right, so Yakuza 3 is one of the first PS3 games. I think the first one that came out in the West was Dead Souls, and then 3 came out after. So it's a very older engine Yakuza game, so it looks very different to the Yakuza games that you're probably used to seeing, like Zero and the Dragon Engine games. Right, so in Chapter 1, so right at the start of the game, it kind of picks off right where Yakuza 2 ended. So we're visiting the grave of one of the major characters in Yakuza 2. Oh, I need to go just talk to that one. You can go talk to all the graves if you want, but you just have to talk to one of them, and then you can just go away. This is Sayama. This is where she gets written out of the series completely. She's very important in Yakuza 2. This game's like, no, she can go be a policewoman in America, and she just never comes back again. Right, so basically, the majority of Chapter 1 is Kiryu's walking around saying goodbye to specific characters that he knows around Kamurocho. Alright, so when I'm going to be running around, I'm going to be panning the camera downwards because when they ported this game to PS4, they improved the loading times. Improving loading times actually made it so more NPCs spawn everywhere. Just panning the camera down despawns all the NPCs, so you don't have to worry about them. There are some areas later where you can't do that, or you're in a cutscene, so there's like hundreds of NPCs just spawn in front of you. And when we get into Chapter 3, I'll kind of go into why that can be annoying because of how the fight spawn mechanics work in this game. But yeah, so this is the Emoto Clinic. We're going here to visit Kazuki, who got injured in Yakuza 2, and this is where you brought him. But before we go in here, three guys has decided to pick a fight with Kiryu, and this is kind of our first fight. This is the tutorial fight. This one is actually pretty consistent, but it can go a little bit jank depending on what the enemies decide to do. Cool. And there we go. You want to get double hits there. So if we're doing this right, you can stun this guy against a wall. There we go. Grab that guy. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so now it tells you to go grab a weapon. We can grab this bin here. Then go over here, grab this up. Oh, grab the bin, please. Then 1, 2. Alright, so the bin automatically drops. Now we have to build up a heat bar. Thank you. Oh, okay. And 1, 2, 3. There we go. Where's the guy in green? Oh, that's not what I wanted. So I'm just going to throw these guys into the wall. So these guys don't take any damage really until the end of the tutorial, but you can still do damage to all of them. And the guy in green. Okay, so you want to throw all 3 of them into the wall. Then you just one-tap all of them. That's the end of the first tutorial. There's 2 tutorials. The first one's kind of okay. The second one is like completely stupid, but yeah. Right, so you beat these guys up. These guys like will come back and they apologize, but they come back in a minute to try and get revenge with their big anarchy, they like to call him. All right, so we're gonna go into the clinic here. We're gonna talk to Emoto, who's right here. Right, so one good thing about this game is when it comes to text mashing, you just have to hold 2 buttons. You hold R1 and X. Whenever a cutscene is specifically voiced with specific dialogue lines, you have to mash through those cutscenes, but there's like 5 instances that throughout the game. Alright, you can either walk to the door here or talk to Haruka and tell her to go away, and then it TPs you outside. Talking to her there without moving to the door saves like 2 seconds. A shout outs to Tap, who came into my chat like a week ago when I've got lore for you. You can just talk to Haruka and tell her to go away. Alright. Walk up the street. You can actually do this tutorial in like 3 different places, but we do it here because it's closer to the Millennium Tower, which is the area that we're heading to. Oh yeah, this is the imposing punk. Alright, so the second tutorial is actually mainly based around the lock-on mechanic, the dodging mechanic, but specifically the start is the blocking mechanic. And generally in most Yakuza games, when you have to do the block tutorial is horrible, so we basically just have to sit here and wait for, a guy to just do a 3-hit on me. Sometimes that can take like 20 seconds, sometimes they do it instantly. Right, so this is the fighting stance, kind of the lock-on feature. I'm trying to move in a particular way so these guys all get around the motorbike. There we go. Because if they don't, they get caught and they don't take enough damage by the end. Then quick step into the corner 10 times. Now I have to do a strong combo 10 times again. Trying to get them to stay in the corner. And thank you. Good, that was fun. Grab the sign. Smack him with the heat move. And there should be like 2 guys left. Oh, he has like a 4 HP bar. Why? Easy. Alright. Normally weapons aren't that good in this game, especially ones you can pick up, but the bikes are okay at the start of the game. Right, so they try and beat you up, and then this guy just walks up and goes, you do realize this is Kiryu, and they go, oh god, I'm so sorry, sir. Right, so the whole reason why I'm going to the Millennium Tower is because in Yakuza 2 story, Kiryu basically leaves control of the Tojo clan with Daigo Dojima, and in order to try and kind of keep him in check, we're going to go and ask Majima to kind of be like the guardian of Daigo for us while we leave to go run an orphanage on the beach. Alright. Quickly gonna hop down here. You come in the Millennium Tower like 2 times in this. But first one here, we gotta go fight Majima. What's funny about this is we basically have to deal with like a fully upgraded Majima as like the first boss fight. Like the first major boss fight. So he can be fairly annoying. We have a couple of ways to like kind of cheese him, but like if this fight kind of goes wrong, it just kind of goes wrong and you have to deal with it. Alright, so one thing you can do is you can try and grab him. Then he'll break away and laugh at you. And grab him again. Oh, that didn't work. Just gonna get in position. He's gonna laugh at me. Okay, good. 1, 2. Right, cool. Right. I missed my hit there. Right, so what I'm trying to do is when you whiff attacks and then hit bosses with your heavy attacks, they tend to not block it. Oh, I accidentally turned around. I was trying to avoid this. So by doing this boss fight correctly, you can avoid this feel with heat animation. Otherwise, you just lose like 10 seconds. That was actually an okay Majima. You normally get a feel of the heat in this fight, but you can kind of just dodge it if you get lucky, but yeah, I didn't know. Alright, so that's the end of chapter 1. Alright, so chapter 2. So I actually ran this in a UKSG during 2021, during one of the online ones, and since then the route for this game has been updated like a few times. And the route we do now is very much more weapon-based, and it's kind of funny how much, like, what taking one little trip to a shop can do to a route. But before we can go buy weapons, we've got to go talk to Izumi here, who's having troubles. Basically, she's she is not really sure if she has a family or not, but Kiryu is like, you have a family. You have all of us at the orphanage. But you can also ask her about whether her stomach hurts because she hasn't eaten enough. Alright, there we go. Right, so during those cutscenes, Kiryu basically gets, well, I say those, there's another cutscene there, but basically during these cutscenes, Kiryu kind of catches wind that apparently the deed for the land that the orphanage is on might be taken away from the one of the landowners. So there's two, so the land that he's on has like two different like landholders. There is one with Daigo and one with the Ryudo family in Okinawa. So we got to go see the lieutenant and try and get a meeting with the with the head of the Ryudo family, which is where we're going to go now. But you know, but before we do that, I got to stop in Ebisu Pawn because I've got to get rid of a couple of items from my inventory and then grab another thing that we're going to use throughout the run. Quickly stop in here. Walk around here, talk to my man. Right, I get rid of these two stamina. You don't have to do this, but I do it just to get them out of my inventory so I don't have to deal with them. And I replace them with 4 baseball bats, which we can just easily pick up, put in our pocket, and go away. Right, so obviously I'm going to be panning my camera down because it despawns the NPCs. I actually have to be on the lookout for fight spawns here, because fight spawns appear in this game frequently. There's literally one right there. When you play this game enough, you kind of get used to spotting them. But anyway, this is Rakia. Rakia, we did buy those baseball bats, but we don't need them for Rakia. We're going to grab him, throw him into this corner, and try and combo him in this corner. There we go. Oh, poo. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that combo. I meant to press triangle earlier, but whatever. That's both feel the heat's unskipped at this point. Doing well on those. Doing the... There you go. Right, so if you stick him in that corner with the 2 signs, whenever you knock enemies into walls, they take damage from the... They take damage from being hit between walls, but also if there are furniture or signs there, you hit the signs into them and they also do some bricks of damage. So now that we've punched Rakia, we're now friends with him. And he's basically gonna take us around Okinawa a little bit and introduce us to some people and take us to the Ryudo family office. So we're gonna go into the market square here. The market square here is actually a pretty scary section later in the game in Chapter 4. Because of the small area and fight spawns. Alright, gonna skip through that text. Alright, so he introduces us to a couple of people. Thanks, kid, for running him, for literally jumping in my way. Alright, the chatty old woman gives us some text. I always forget what she says. Oh, I'm gonna get on the bike. So this section doesn't really matter too much if you get caught on things. We're basically waiting for Rakia to walk over to where Mikiko is here.
Do we have a moment for a couple messages?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, we have a $100 donation from Joshua Kant, and I'm sure Joshua can. And the comment is, what's everyone's favorite Yakuza game? What is yours, Rebel?
Mine's Yakuza 6.
6, yeah.
I like 6.
I mean, I only really have one option. It's 0.
You've only played 0, right?
It's the only one I've played, exactly. Little biased. But yeah, there's a very important announcement here. With this $100 donation, we've hit $2,000! Amazing, incredible, and we are only $14 away from the next big milestone, which is, well, let me find it here. It is Autumn 2019's donation total of $2,015. But yeah, thank you all for donating so far, and let's keep those donations coming for Crisis. Back to you, Rebel.
Thank you. Right, so we just had that little conversation with Shiro there. He's upset about something, but he won't tell us. So we're going to go talk to the orphanage's informant, which is Taichi over here. Tai Chi is just the god of knowing what's happening with everyone and everything in the orphanage. So he tells us that Shiro's being bullied. So we're going to phone the teacher of Shiro's class. But it turns out the bully is actually the teacher's son. So he doesn't want to do anything about it at this point. Alright. So we've got to go back and tell Shiro that it's fine, don't worry about it, we'll sort it out. Then he mentions about the bully trying to threaten to get the orphanage closed down. He's like, yeah, the orphanage won't close down. So in order to fully enforce the fact that the orphanage won't get closed down, Kiryu goes and plays... we're going to go play golf with the local politician for this area. But Taichi now has to tell us... Taichi has to tell us the kid's name first, so we know exactly who it is. Then we'll go back to Shiro again. There we go. Because apparently, the kid's dad knows someone from the council. Oh, and the name of the orphanage is Morning Glory, which always makes me laugh whenever I see it. Before that, alright, yeah, so we're going to walk out here. There's a guy out here who tells us where the golf course is. And now we've unlocked the fast travel point for the golf course, but we have to go to downtown Ryukyu to, like, get to it. Alright, in here. Walking into there is actually kind of annoying sometimes. It's actually it's not as large as it looks. Thank you. Right. So, you actually have to have a membership to play golf, but the person we need to talk to just goes, oh, you want to play golf? Come and play as my guest. And so, this is golf. Normally, in most Yakuza games, you don't actually have to play any mini-games, really. In Yakuza 0, you have to do a round of the hostess club during the run. In Yakuza 3, you have to play golf. Golf is very annoying. It can lose you a lot of time. Wind RNG is annoying. Putting is very annoying. Everything about golf just is there to frustrate you. So I've got to go. That is going to be out of bounds. Of course it is. That's fine. Alright, you really want it on the fairway, but if I go in the bunker, I just have to deal with it. I should be fine. I'm still in the rough. What are you doing? The pitiful hit just to get out of the rough. Alright. So now I can putt. Alright, that was a pretty decent putt. Alright, putting in this is really annoying because the hole really doesn't like you, like, actually hitting long putts. Without, like, that's going to be too hard. Yeah, it's too soft. If that had actually hit the hole, that probably would have bounced in the hole and bounced out. See, this guy gets in, like, hits the hole most of the time. There you go. That's fine. Oh, dude, double bogey. Not like this. That was the mulligan. Right, there we go. Right, so this is par 3. This hole's normally pretty simple. Oh, that is horrible wind. Oh, thanks. All right. Okay, that's fine. And I'm just going to putt from here. That was a decently good putt. This guy gets a birdie most of the time on this hole. Because this guy's just Giga Chad with that. I got a par. That's fine. Alright. You don't actually have to win or lose at golf either, so you just have to play 3 holes. Which is lucky, because if you had to win this, it would be actual nightmare fuel for this speedrun. That should be... That's perfect on the fairway. Oh, that was another good shot as well. Right. This guy normally takes the same amount of shots to get to where he needs to go, which is... Fine. That was not an amazing putt, but whatever. This guy normally takes 2 putts to get in the hole. He putts there, and then he putts, like, instantly in there. He normally gets a... oh, he must have mulliganed a shot, because he normally gets a par or a par on that one. Yeah, you don't have to win this, luckily. That you just have to play golf with him, and he's like, you are now my best friend. now that we have the best friend of the politician, we're going to go back to the orphanage. And he actually came by to visit the orphanage within that time of him playing golf and meeting Kiryu. He found the orphanage and he's come to visit us here. There we go. All right, here he is. We get the love line of Taichi in the house because he's always in the house. Right, so all the kids are coming home from school. There's a cutscene in a second which shows Shiro beaten up a little bit because he had a fight with the kid who was bullying him. But when you see the model afterwards, he's like perfectly fine. So this teacher and his kid, the teacher moans, calls the politician and like an old fart, and he gets very depressed by this. All right. So next in the assortment of Kiryu looks after the kids at the orphanage, we have to go into the main room, and Taichi and Ako are having a conversation about something to do with like money, because he wants to borrow some money from Ayako, but she's like, I haven't got any because I lost it or something. So we're gonna have a family meeting, but in order to have the family meeting, we need to tell all the kids to go to the dining room. So you have to talk to Ayako twice there. You talk to her to get the problem, then tell her to go in the kitchen. And then we got to go around here, talk to Riona. Her hitbox for talking to her extends outside the room, so you can just warp in there. Next, there's some kids in the yard out front. There's Azumi and Eri. Taichi is off in a corner sulking, so we got to go grab Taichi. He's over here. Taichi's pole. There we go. And there's 3 of the kids are on the beach. We have to go down and tell them to go in there as well. Here's the last 3. Then Haruka's in the kitchen doing starting on the cooking. And when Kiryu walks in there, she's like, where have you been? We're supposed to be cooking. Hopping up through there. Alright, so the entire point of him calling a family meeting is because he basically wants to have a conversation with all the kids about Ayako's potentially stolen or lost money. But I like to joke and meme about it now that Among Us has become a thing. And emergency meetings, he just calls an emergency meeting with his family and throws sus at all of them. He does this a couple of times in this game. He just throws shade at everyone. So basically, he just rocks up when someone stole it, and when we need to find out who. And it's like everyone gets thrown into chaos as like, I didn't do it. No, I didn't do it. So because of you throwing sus at everyone, we walk around to the main room, and Eri's digging through Ayako's bag. Turns out Eri's the one that had taken the money, and now she's putting it back now that she's been found out. So she runs off to the beach. Ayako goes, checks her bag. Go, oh my god, my money's there now. So we do call another family meeting. We don't have to go collect all the children this time to go into the kitchen. The game just automatically does it for us. But yeah, so Kiryu basically calls a meeting, throws sus, finds out what happened, calls another meeting, goes, I was wrong, I was the bad one. So Eri is upset because she doesn't believe that Ayako will, like, forgive her. But Ayako is like, it's fine, I can forgive you. Alright. If you have anything to talk about, Paul, while I'm just going back to skip some dialogue, feel free to go ahead.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about some of the events that have helped us run this one, shall we say. Well, at this point, we would like to thank ESA for supporting this marathon. Besides providing us with their channel for streaming, they're sharing gear and technical assistance. ESA Winter 2023 is right around the corner on the 18th to the 25th of February, so tune in on this channel, that's right, twitch.tv/ESA Marathon, on those days to check it all out. Also, just wanted to make sure, If you want to have your tweet featured on the stream, you can use the hashtag UKSG Red 2023. No spaces, no underscores. That is all. Back to you, Rebel.
Thank you, Paul. Right, so we try to go help Haruka with cooking after calling the family meeting, but Taiji comes and tells us that there's someone in the by the front of the house. But if you walk outside, there's no one there, and you're meant to go to the beach to check out the beach. This game is one of the most confusing games I've ever played, when you don't know where things are. Like, I play this game now and I'm like, I know where everything is. This game's easy as pie to like get through the main story. When I first played this game, you just ran around aimlessly. So during a cutscene earlier, when we were talking to Nakahara of the Ryudo family, he mentions a kid he has in his care called Saki. Saki gets kind of like kidnapped by Tamashiro, who's the head of the other Yakuza family in this area. And so Kiryu is like, surely she can just call for help or something. And Rakia's like, no, she's mute. And now Kiryu's like, well, I guess I've got to help you go get this child back. I didn't obviously get run over. Right. So now that... Oh, okay, there's not one there. Right, there could be a fight spawn that spawns right there, right by the alley, which you basically can't avoid without an extremely specific, like, situation happening. Now that I'm dealing with them a little bit more, I can talk about fight spawns. So fight spawns in the older Engine Yakuza games, specifically 3, 4, and 5, are really silly. There's no way to despawn them like there is in later Yakuza games. In this game, if a fight spawn sees you, it'll run at you. And it either catches you, and you lose 30 to 50 seconds just flat, instantly, or you can run away, losing about 15. But when you're running backwards, you're not holding down on the camera, so NPCs can spawn behind you. And if you get caught on an NPC, you're getting hit by that fight spawn that you're running away from. This game's not as bad as Yakuza 5, so if there's like, say, 3 fight spawns chasing you in this game, if you get hit by one of them, you've only got to deal with the one. In Yakuza 5, if there's, say, 3 fight spawns chasing you, if you get hit by one, you get hit by the second one, and then you get hit by the third one. And there's a couple of corners in Yakuza 5 where, like, 5 fight spawns in a row can spawn, and you're just like, please, just let me go. That guy on the corner is a fight spawn. You can tell kind of which ones are fight spawns and which ones aren't, normally, like, by how they're clothed, but also, when you pan the camera down, any NPC that isn't a talkable or a fight spawn will just despawn, so you can basically pump the camera up and down to see which feet despawn, and all the feet that don't despawn are either fight spawns or compensation targets, and that's how you can kind of tell where they are. Right, so Tamashiro family. We're going to punch this guy in the white shirt into the wall with the big guy, and while they're getting up, we're going to try and make sure that didn't happen, but... we go. Punch that guy. That kind of works out. That really didn't happen how I wanted it to, but that kind of works out. Right, so we beat up those guys, and they tell us where Saki's being held, which is in the Tamashiro family office, which is around here. I haven't had a fight spawn in a weird location. Yeah, there can be one right by that black car. There's one in the corner. You can actually see him. He's just on the corner looking out. Chapter 3 isn't normally the scary one for fight spawns in terms of avoiding them. Chapter 4 is pretty scary, and Chapter 10 are pretty scary. See, that guy there is looking. So we're going to try to walk into the family office, but we get hit by this guy called Kamiyama, who's first known as the Fidgety Man, because this game loves the weird descriptions. So he tells us about the weapons vans that we can unlock. So he unlocks the one in... Okinawa for us, and we have to unlock the one when we get back to Kamurocho, which we do actually need, so we will be doing that. Right, so during this cutscene, he also gives us an expandable staff, which is meant to be like an item that like you like apply like mods to make it better, because otherwise it's actually a pretty pitiful weapon. The only good thing about it is its heat move, but we don't need it anymore, so we sell it. But anyway, we got to go in here. So this is our first set piece. This is the Tamashiro family office. So we need to climb up the office building to get to the Tamashiro's office. So we have to deal with these enemies here. 3-hit combos are generally... if I could, like, not do that. There we go. And locker. Alright, cool. If you get lucky, you can actually destroy the locker before this cutscene plays. But you have to hit the guy towards it pretty like specifically, the last guy. Oh yeah, so all these guys spawn in and just kind of forebodingly just look at you. I think in the PS3 version, enemies were a lot more aggressive, but on the remaster, nothing attacks you half the time, and you don't need to deal with these enemies to move on. So we're just going to run past them. Alright, so there's actually a couple of standmans you can pick up there. We used to pick them up, we don't need them anymore. Alright, so luckily all the QTEs in this part are all just the X button. So I know where all the QTEs are, I know what they're going to be. Alright. That guy, so the guy with the sword's going to come back. There he is. The camera out of this is actually pretty random. I think I got a decent camera, I did get a decent camera there. That guy can throw a knife at you, you lose like a second if he hits you, but it's not that bad. Right, so we're going to run through here. We actually have to deal with the enemies in this room here. Sadly, we actually got to fight some guys in a Yakuza game. Right. That's... There we go. I'm going to hit this guy into the chairs. That didn't work. Go. Hit that guy. That'd be last guy. There we go. Right. So I was also trying to hit them into each other and into walls there, because that can do more damage to them. Right. So this is the Tamashiro boss fight. Before I fight him, I got to do a quick menu. Gonna buy some upgrades. I need to buy level 3 in tech. And then thank you, Tamashiro. Get in the corner. Now it's time for some baseball bats. Alright, so we're gonna hit him and then do flurry of blows. And just smack him about a bit. I do the run out and push him back in, try and get him into the corner. Just try and maintain him being in there. And the bat breaks, so... Ah, that was unlucky. So if you get too much damage on him sometimes, you get the feel the heat. If not, you can just dodge the feel the heat. But I got kind of unlucky with my damage rolls there. And he actually went into his second phase, which isn't normally something you want. When he puts on the Knuckle Dusters, he's in second phase, and he gets the heat bar. Cool. He actually has a QTE that he can go for if you let him stand up fully. But you can completely skip it if you do that correctly. But also, if you do get the QTE, it's actually faster just to get punched in the gut by the QTE and just not do it. Oh yeah, so that's the end of Chapter 3. At the end of Chapter 3, you meet a bunch of characters, like you meet Daigo and this other guy that's with him. He's like a businessman, I forget his name. And start of Chapter 4, we're in the hospital because Nakahara got shot at some point between Chapter 3 and Chapter 4. So we're talking to Kashiwagi, who tells us that Daigo also got shot. And this is when we get told that Nakahara should make it, but he'll be a little bit off for a little while. So during, so after finding out that Daigo got shot, Kiryu then decides he needs to go and investigate in Kamurocho to see what's happening. So he has a little conversation with Haruka here, basically going like, I need to go help. Rakia comes along, he's like, yeah, let me come with you. And Kiryu's like, no, you're a guy from the beach. Kamurocho is too complex, too maze-like for a man like you. So most of Chapter 4 is basically us preparing to go to Kamurocho. Alright, thank you for not TPing me to the house, making me walk up here. So you can actually walk around at night in this section to go do some different things, but we're just going to go talk to Haruka and go, yeah, no, me need sleep. Right, so... And then, because of course this is Kiryu's life, so nothing simple. The day afterwards, a dog appears in the yard, and it happens to look very similar to a dog that Izumi used to own, called Mame. So she wants us to basically adopt this dog and make it like the orphanage's pet. So we're going to go on a little adventure to try and find the dog and try and make it like us. Otherwise, Izumi get very upset. Koji and Taichi try and chase it, give up after like 3 seconds, go, you do it. I don't want to do it. So this guy here, Kamiyama actually mentioned a Weapon Master during his dialogue. This guy's the Weapon Master. He's man with straw hat first, though. We don't need to do anything with the Weapons Master learning stuff in this run. So we basically don't interact with him outside of that one piece of dialogue. Right, something else that happens in Chapter 4 is that now there are locker keys on the map. So locker keys are little collectibles that open up basically rewards for you finding them. That guy was a fight spawn. Like give you rewards for finding them. We need 5 by the end of Chapter 4. That is also a fight spawn, so in order to dodge him I have to do this. And he'll stop running eventually, and I can just run around him. If you get caught in this kind of general area, not only do you lose 30 seconds from getting into a fight spawn, or 30 or more, there's actually sometimes a QT cutscene that plays where you smash a guy's face into like the shop window. Which happened to me once, and I saw it and I was like, oh, I forgot this game can do that. Right, so those 3 guys there are actually a sub-story. If you walk into them, they not only do you have to sit through the cutscene, they move to a different part of the map, which I believe is in the way of where you need to go for another part. So you basically eat 2 different cutscenes and a tiny bit of sub-story stuff just by accidentally hitting those guys. So this is the dog. I got very lucky there because during that, on that little street where the dog is, fight spawns can spawn down there, and you don't really always have a chance to escape them. But before that, we've got to chase the dog a little bit around downtown Ryukyu. Right, so during chases, I'm holding right trigger to sprint. I don't know, in later Yakuza games they make it so you automatically sprint without having to hold a button. Because they thought, well, everyone just kind of held the button down, so why don't we make the sprint the base movement speed? That's what they did. We corner the dog is what we call this, by a bike. And basically, Izumi's like, we need to get this dog to like us. How do we do it? And the game gives us 4 options. We're going to click definitely bones, because the dog loves a good bone to chew on. So I'm going to go to the M store over here and ask, do you have bones for dogs? Hop over here. And because, obviously, it's not like a pet store, this guy goes, obviously not. Why would we stock that? But because I really need to make sure, I'm actually going to go back in and talk to him a second time to really make sure that he doesn't have the dog bones. Then when you do it twice, you get a little dialogue box here where he says, I've really checked the M stores. There we go. Then I'm going to go and report back to Izumi that we failed to obtain bones. Which, of course, he gets upset by, because of course. Then we get a second set of options, but if we pick definitely bones again, because we went and asked the M store twice about if they have bones or not, the game just skips past the second, like, thing, because you're meant to go and ask both of the M stores at the opposite ends of town. But by just asking one of them twice, the game goes, I guess you asked the M stores. That was found by Tapioca, who's one of the other Yakuza guys who's done a lot of stuff with this game, a lot of stuff with 4 and 5 and Kiwami 2. Oh yeah, we have to. They tell Kiryu that they're going to take the dog for a walk. You just have to reload the map. The closest place to reload the map is the Mahjong studio there. So by reloading the map, you get this cutscene. Mikio gets punched in that cutscene. That's about all that happens. So now we've obtained dog for the orphanage. Alright, so when we go back to the orphanage now, the next episode of Kiryu Kiryu in the orphanage is Mitsuo is trying to ask Riona out on a date, and it's not going too well. So we need to help our boy out a little bit. Alright, so Rakia here is like, we need to watch this. First he has a conversation about when the flight is, and then he's like, wait, we need to watch what's happening over here. So what gets decided by this attempt for Mitsuo failing, by Rakia is his clothing wasn't optimal enough, so we need to go buy some new clothing to make Mitsuo look pretty fly. So we're gonna go to the clothing store. This guy tells us about the clothing store. That's the guy that also tells us about where to go for golf. So that guy's just like the Giga Chad neighbor who just knows about everything. Right. So on the way to buying clothing, there's actually a locker key we can pick up. We used to do a sub-story to get 200,000 yen for free, but that needed another sub-story in the chain to start that. But that locker key there gives us a weapon that sells for 290,000 yen, so yeah, we're just going to grab that instead. We're going to buy the American flag polo. We're going to buy the 10-gallon hat. So we're going to make this guy look extra fly. There we go. Alright, so something else I'm also trying to make sure I look out for. So on the map, there are little question marks everywhere. Those are sub-stories. On the remastered versions, they just give you the sub-story locator. Normally the way you get the sub-story locator on the PS3 version of this game is you have to do a playthrough where you 100% all the sub-stories, and it gives you the sub-story finder when you've done all the sub-stories on that file. So it's like an NG Plus kind of item, which if you do all the sub-stories on a file, you would know where they all are. So we go get Mitsuo. We're going to tell him to put on the clothing that we brought. So he's very skeptical. He's very skeptical about what Rakia brought, but he wanted to try on what Kiryu brought him. So we make him look extra good. Look at his little American shirt and a hat. And let's see how this attempt goes. And it failed again. So he obviously wasn't good enough. Right, so I've got a little bit of dialogue, and then Mitsuo runs off to try and help Riona with another problem that she's having. So while I'm doing that, Paul, can you say a few words?
Absolutely, I can say a few words. And yeah, just a little thing about everyone here. If you wish to support future UKSG events, then well, boy have I the thing for you. Part of the revenue from cheers, subs, and the ad revenue is going towards UKSG. So all your contributions, either towards Crisis or UKSG, whether you wish to sub, whether you wish to cheer, or what have you, it's all going towards one good cause or another. And of course, we want UKSG to become bigger, we want UKSG to become better, so we can welcome more people here. So if you wish to support this way, and instead of donating, then that is very, very welcome indeed. Would you like me to keep going?
You can keep going if you like.
Yeah. Let me just... yeah, I should probably mention, since we're on the topic of subs and cheers and all that, have you ever heard of Twitch Prime? Basically, if you link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, you get Twitch Prime, and you get a free sub to a channel. So if you have that available right now, go right ahead. Just use it here. See if it works. But yeah, thank you all very much, and it's back to you, Rebel.
Thank you. Right, so Mitsuo goes up to help Riona with dealing with these kids. They're talking to her about something, they annoy her, and he helps her. The cutscene trigger for that cutscene is absolutely massive. So she saw me just get off the taxi, walk forward. Yeah, the cutscene for that is just incredibly huge. So, now that we've helped Mitsuo out, Koji wants to play baseball with everyone, so that's what we're going to do now. Koji's like, it's time for baseball. And Kiryu's like, I've got time for this. I can play some baseball. So, he tells everyone it's time for baseball boys and baseball girls to move out. So they're all going to run down to the beach. Dog also goes as well. One good thing about like this game in the speedrun, you just get to see all the weird like running animations for like all the different characters. Right, so you can see there's little kids out on the beach. That's Akira. Akira is just a kid that's on the beach, and Koji's like, "Would you like to play baseball with us?" So Akira gets invited along. We're gonna go basically give him like 3 seconds to try and hit a ball, then we're gonna go take the bat from him because we need to play baseball to move on. So he has the bat for like a few seconds, then we're like, no, it's my turn now. Right, so baseball is actually kind of annoying in this. So we want to try and reduce the amount of time we're spent in the unskippable cutscenes of baseball. So if you hit the ball how you're meant to hit it, which is smack it as hard as possible and as hard as possible, the cutscenes are longer. Like this, I timed that wrong. There you go. And if you hit it directly at the floor, the cutscene is a lot shorter. So you got to do that 10 times in a row. I try and keep my stick steady. There we go. You can actually get an even better version of that where you bunt it and it bounces like right in front of you. But the timing on that is actually pretty difficult. So I don't always try and go for it. Okay, 6 left. The only downside of doing it like this is when you hit the ball really high, most of the cutscenes that plays are just all the kids falling over each other trying to get to the ball. Or they trip over the dog. That's also very funny as well. Right, so you have to actually hit 10 balls here. It's not just like he throws 10. So if you miss any, basically you just lose 15, 20 seconds from him rethrowing the ball again. Okay, 2 more. Sorry about that. Sorry, my throat is dying.
I can take a moment here and read some more messages.
Please do.
All right, yeah. So, oh my God, it's spreading.
It's spreading.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
But yeah, thank you all for watching the United Kingdom Speedrunner Gathering. We are a 2-day speedrunning marathon that's coming to you live from Glasgow, Scotland. And we are raising money to support Crisis, charity supporting people out of homelessness for good. They achieve this through education, training, and support with housing, employment, and health. 90% of your donations will go towards supporting Crisis. 10% will go towards supporting UKSG's future events. So thank you all for donating so far. We are $29 away from reaching one of our bigger milestones here for autumn 2020. We just need to beat $2,030 exactly. So if you wish to push us over that goal, $29 is all we need for that. Feeling better, Rebel?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right, back to you.
Jesus, I don't know what happened there. Right, so during that entire cutscene, basically find out that Akira was also getting bullied by the same kid that Shiro was earlier. So, oh, I forgot something. It's fine, doesn't matter too much. I forgot to grab the bat locker key. I need that. But yeah, so we find out that Akira's getting bullied by the same kid that Shiro was. So the mum calls the teacher gets annoyed. Oh, there's an extra cutscene here because the cutscene trigger is massive. Those two characters from Yakuza 2, they're in a sub-story. I need this locker key here because it's another baseball bat. I need it for later in the run. I wasn't paying it. Yeah, I meant to grab it when I go to downtown Ryukyu, like one of the other times. Luckily, when you move Haruka, the sub-stories despawn. Get past it. Right, so I have to go through this incredibly thin location now and hope there are no fight spawns here. There is a fight spawn there, but I can go around him. Alright, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so during those cutscenes back at the hut, the orphanage, it's about Akira having asthma and overexerting himself, and then the mother shouting at the teacher for having a child that bullies other children and stuff like that. Anyway, we got to go shopping here, but if we just do that, Haruka's done. You're meant to run around this entire area, watch a couple of cutscenes, do a sub-story or two. We don't need to do that. Right, so now we've got to leave this place. There can also be fight spawns on the way out as well. Like that guy right there, which I nearly ran into. Alright, now we're out. Yay, chapter 4. So currently no fight spawns have bodied me thus far. I've got a lot of the game to go through yet though. Alright, so we'll go back here, we're going to tell Haruka to go away.
Hi.
Right, so this is the cheerful foreigner.
Oh.
Otherwise known as Mac. So Mac's going to tell us about different cutscenes that we can see throughout the game, which give us different heat moves. What they've called has just completely escaped from my brain. Revelations, that's it. Thank you, game, for reminding me. So we get to watch this lovely cutscene of this Gran going for a Sunday drive on her moped. During this, though, she sees the icon that she stands. So we're going to take some pictures of her doing a lovely flip over this taxi. The absolute majesty of this cutscene gets is so good. And everyone's like, oh my god, she just did a flip. Love's a magical thing. Absolutely, dude. And then from this cutscene, Kiryu will type out a blog post. And from this blog post, he discovers how to do this heat move, which is flipping over someone and kicking them in the back into a bar. Absolutely what anyone would take from watching that occur.
Yeah.
This is the only Yakuza game where you have to watch the first revelation. In Yakuza 4, you get to skip all the revelations, so, you know, the game's obviously garbage because we don't get to see cutscenes like that. Some of them are insanely good. Right. So there's one more locker key here that I've got to grab. And now we're going to go cash in all of our locker keys, because we're basically not coming up this end of the map until Chapter 10, when we come back to Okinawa, because after this chapter we go to Kamurocho for a number of chapters. So we're grabbing the Expulsion 12, which is a really powerful shotgun. We're grabbing the Shadow Blade, which we sell. We're grabbing the Double Action Revolver, which is a decent gun. A Blackjack Amulet, which is useful for way later. And a baseball bat, which we need basically in the next chapter or so. Okay, thank you. And then we're going to buy Double Finisher. Put that there, that there. And now we're going to go to Kamurocho finally. So we're kind of nearing the end of one of the slower parts of the run, which is the beginning game, I call it. Go to Kitaryu Street. And hopefully there's not a fight spawn there. There can be a fight spawn like right here that will just nail you right at the end of Chapter 4. Oh, yes, that's definitely what I wanted. Get back in there, Kiryu. Right, so on every other trip you take between Okinawa and Kamurocho, it costs you 30,000 yen to do so. Which probably Paul knows from Zero, that's like pocket change. In this game, that's a lot of money.
That's about $300 if you think about it. That's
yeah. It's quite a bill, but Haruka somehow gives us a ticket which goes between the Okinawa and Kamurocho. Oh yeah, so this is Hasebi. Hasebi is part of the Nishikiyama family, if I remember correctly. They got taken over by a guy called Kanda. So yeah, he's trying to buy the nightclub that belongs to Kazuki, and Kazuki and Yuya are just like, how about we don't do this? And then Kiryu walks in and goes, sure, I can help you guys beat up this guy. But before we do that, we're going to grab a gun and shoot this guy. Because if we let this guy rock, he has like a mid-fight cutscene where he switches phases and gets a weapon out. And we basically don't want to deal with that. Do double finishers. Hammer hook, which is what I'm doing, which is the move which goes up and then down, is actually a very, very good finisher. And that's the last guy left. There. Right. So, yeah. So, as you can see, gun is very powerful in this game. We are going to be using guns a lot through this run. Because if you know any of the memes about Yakuza 3, people like to call it Blockuza 3. Because Yakuza 3's AI can be a little bit like block happy. So, the less we can interact with the AI in terms of punching them, the better in most cases. But there are ways we can manipulate certain fights where if like we do have to punch them. But guns are basically on easy mode, especially because they're really powerful on easy mode. They get weaker when you go to normal and hard. Where baseball bats are more effective on the harder difficulties. Guns on easy mode are just like the answer to most boss fights because it just stops them from doing anything. Alright, so Kashiwagi is being like, yo, can you come see me at like the Millennium Tower? And Kiryu's like, oh yeah, I'm already in Kamurocho. I can come there. But he tells us that like the police are crawling around the area because of a different issue that's happening. So we basically have a kind of a set path we have to follow through Kamurocho here. Luckily, the game gives us access to a shop. The shop we have access to actually has a locker key in it, so we're gonna go grab that locker key. I can't remember if it's the blackjack amulet or the other shotgun we need. It's one of the two. We grab 2 locker keys before we go to the Millennium Tower, and one has a shotgun, one's a locker key. Anyway, camera panning down because NPCs like to spawn in Kamurocho. It is actually quite nice that the game gives you access to a shop in this instance because it kind of funnels you into the next thing, which is actually another boss fight. So giving you access to a Popo store here is actually pretty useful. There you go, gonna run in there. Unlike some of the later Yakuza games, especially the Dragon Engine games, when you come across things like bikes and signs on those games, you can actually kind of run like through them. In the Dragon Engine, because a lot of stuff has like physics. In this game, if you run into stuff that's on the side, they're just brick walls that you just clank into. So yeah, so the game's funneling you into this alleyway here. We walk into this alleyway and we get attacked by the Men in Black. So the Men in Black are annoying, so we're gonna baseball bat this guy. Grab a shotgun out, shoot him once, wait for him to get up again. Shoot him again. Oh, thank you. This guy's going to give me feel the heat now, I can tell. Oh, now I can't move. Thank you again. If you let this guy get away from you, he's annoying as hell to deal with. There we go. Just give me the feel the heat and go away. Oh god, if you don't have meter, you gotta mash our trigger for this. Right. If you get lucky with the baseball bat I did at the start, you actually hit multiples of these guys, but... Oh, thank you. Now I'm just getting absolutely bodied. That's fine. Thank you, Richardson. Losing me like all the time in the world like normal. Glad to see nothing changes. That fight is... I hate that fight so much. So with the route that we do now, that fight went from kind of okayly consistent to like... you're just up in the air whether it actually works or not. So what we used to do is we used to use 4 shotgun shots on him. And then... we finished off everything else. But because of a strat that saves 35 seconds later in the game, it's better to just risk losing a bit of time on Richardson by using 2 shots and a baseball bat than it is to use all 4 shots and not be able to do the boss strat later, which is definitely faster. So this is the chase tutorial. This guy is, obviously it's Mac, but because Kiryu just fought a bunch of guys in suits from America, he gets very confused by the fact Mac is here. And so goes, no, I must catch you. And basically, this is just kind of the game telling you about how chases work. And then afterwards, the game tells you that revelations also exist in Kamurocho as well. We don't need any of the ones in Kamurocho, so we're not going to see any of them, sadly. But yeah, you beat up Mac a little bit, and he's just like, "Oh, it's you!" And Mac's like, "I gotta go. I gotta go see the boys." So the game tries to funnel you over towards the blue side building there. I can't remember what it was called, but yes. But we're gonna go over here because we need to open the weapons store, but we also need to grab a lock key that's in the bar up here on the other side of this little court here. We're gonna go talk to this guy in front of here. He tells us to go and ask for the mixed bathing hot spring special, if I remember correctly. And that's the key word for opening the weapon shop. And we go. We got the weapons store now. So we need this for chapter 9. We can't open the weapon shop in chapter 9 because we'll have a partner following us. And the partner following us, it's more than fine for us to go into the weapon shop and buy 13 illegal firearms. But we can't open the shop when he's there. He doesn't. The game doesn't let you do that. So we open it now because we're on this side of the map. We never really come back over again, so it's hard to justify doing it at any other point. There's also a locker key here, so we grab that locker key. Right, so now we're actually going to go get our locker keys out. Oh, thank you, random NPC. We're going to go grab our locker keys now. It is another shotgun and a Blackjack amulet. The Blackjack amulets are for the start of chapter 9, so we don't need them for a good while, but it's better to grab them now when we grab everything else. Right, so I'm going to grab a couple of upgrades. I'm going to grab 1 level in Soul and actually unlock heat moves because I haven't had heat moves until just then. Right. So, I'd also replace my pistol with a shotgun and my broken baseball bat with a one that is not broken. And then we're going to go into the Millennium Tower, go up to see Kashiwagi. So Kashiwagi here is wanting some information about who the potential gunman is, and we have like a picture that was drawn by Saki, who's Nakahara's like adopted daughter who we rescued earlier. And it looks like Kiryu's adopted father, Kazuma, who is supposedly dead at this point in the story of Yakuza. So we go to Kashiwagi to get some information and give him the photo. But in the cutscene after we were speaking to him there, a helicopter appears and fires a minigun into his office. So Kiryu now is covered in blood because Kashiwagi did get shot. And now the police are like, stop. So we got to run away from the police real quick. I like how it shows me where that guy is. Right, there we go. Right, so this one's actually kind of annoying. If you get hit by, if you get caught by the policeman, you have to go through a QTE where you mash X to break them off of you. On the hardest difficulty in this game, what we know is Legend mode. If you get caught by any of these guys, you don't have enough stamina to complete the thing, and you game over. And if you game over on Legend, you get kicked back to your previous save file, which is just insane. Right, so something annoying. If this was a Dragon Engine game, you would just push past the NPCs. But in this game, if you hit an NPC in a chase section, you just bonk off of them like they're a brick wall. So I need to try and avoid the NPCs, especially in locations like this where there are policemen on either side that start chasing you. I'm also avoiding jumping over the bins because jumping is just slow and it has a startup and a recovery animation. You have to do a jump here because otherwise you can't avoid that policeman. And here's the end of the chase. Alright, so after that chase, we meet up with Date. If you played Yakuza 1 and 2, you'll know who Date is. He's a very important character throughout most of the games. He tells us he needs to take us somewhere secure so we can have a conversation. So we're going to do that. We're basically going to walk around Camera Ridge a little bit and avoid policemen. He basically just, every time we walk past a policeman, he's like, act natural, Kiryu. So in Yakuza 1 and 2, Date here is a police detective, but in this game, he's quit being a police detective and he's a reporter. But he still has enough respect from the police department that if he's with a person that he says is clear, they're just like, okay. That is fine, Date. Please proceed. So if you get caught by any of them, Date just talks them away. But whenever Date's walking, you also need to walk. I'm trying to push Date a little bit because he has a slower running and walking animation when compared to Kiryu. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm pushing him, but I also don't want to push him too hard to left or right. Because if he goes off of his intended path by too much, he has to reset himself. Because otherwise he breaks a lot, and he can sometimes break if he doesn't reset himself. So you don't want to like push him too far away because he can't just run in random directions. But also pushing him can be very difficult because the controls in this game are kind of slippery sometimes. And trying to stick to a target is not easy on the older engines. In the Dragon Engine games, there's a section where you push someone in 6 and it is actually free, just hold forward. Because in those games, everything has a bit more physics attached to them, so they actually have more of a hitbox. Right. Pushed him off his path. Oh, that guy. Oh no, I pushed the guy over. Right. So this part here is normally where he gets pushed off his pathing, but it's normally by NPCs, so I'm going to... Oh, he walked off his pathing there, because of course he did. He walked. Okay, he got back on it without stopping though. That's pretty good. Right. There's one more police. There's 2 more policemen who got walked by. There's this guy here by the park, and then there's one guy around the corner here on Nakamichi Street. Here we go. And I'm just gonna run down here. There we go. And basically, he takes us on that wild goose chase to take us to Serena, because of course that's where you go in every Yakuza game. And now this is kind of like a plot dump area where he tells us about a lot of the Yakuza guys that kind of came into power in the Tojo clan while Kiryu's been away. So he talks about this guy Kanda. Here's Mine. Mine and Kanda are friends at some point. But he's basically talking about how each of them kind of came into power within the Tojo clan. There's Hamazaki. Hamazaki is basically not important in this game. And then he's very important in Yakuza 4, where he actually does a lot more. He just gets introduced in this game. There's actually a cutscene he's in at the start of chapter... It's either at the start of chapter 5 or the end of chapter 4, where he blows up a guy's restaurant because he wouldn't pay him protection money. Alright, so... Now, we're going to go on a little quest because we've got to go find Kanda, because we believe Kanda has something to do with the shootings for the lands. Because that's why Daigo and Nakahara got shot, because they wouldn't give up the land documents for where Kiryu's orphanage is. Because the entire plot of this game is based around either a water park or a military base that wants to be put there. That phone conversation just had is Rakia telling us that he came to Kamurocho without, like, even though we tried to leave him in Okinawa because we know that Kamurocho is scary. Taiji here is asking us for a magazine. We don't have to buy the magazine for him. We can just ignore this part completely. It's just the kind of a thing that he asks. It's like a sub-story. As you can see, I wasn't panning the camera down, so loads of NPCs spawned. Right, so we're trying to find Rakia. Rakia doesn't actually know anything about Kamurocho, so he doesn't know where he is. He's just giving us very vague information. It's the bottom option on each of the times you get options on where to go. I'm going to keep pumping the camera. Good. I'm actually doing pretty alright on this. Alright, I'm good. Right. If you get a fight spawn around this area, you walking into the shop has like an animation, and if you get caught during like the fade out of like the shop, it still counts as you getting into a fight spawn. There's so many times when I'm like, yes, I made it to the shop, then a fight spawn happens. I'm like, I was in the doorway game. I was in the cutscene. I was in the load. Right, so this is actually a bit of remastered, I don't want to call it remastered exclusive content, where this guy, this conversation here didn't happen on the PS3 version of the English version. I don't remember if it was in the JP one or not, or like the not Western localized ones. But basically, this guy talks to Kiryu because Kiryu's in a photo that he believes his dad took, and he's trying to find his dad. And this is like an entire sub-story set you can go and follow, but we basically have to watch the first cutscene of it. We phoned the editorial because Kiryu's in the photos, like, who took this of me? And now he tells him to go to the Champion District. We never have to go to the Champion District in this game, so we never have to worry about it. Just going to go up here. So Rakia's actually in Children's Park, that's over here. If you play Yakuza 6, we go through this park like every 5 minutes, it feels like. And these 4 Yakuzas are hassling the woman that's next to Rakia. So we're going to do the classic, and we're going to beat them up a little bit. The way you do this fight now is you pull out the baseball bat and just swing. And hopefully you hit 3 of them, like that. Then you grab that guy. Oh, or you accidentally do that. You meant to throw him into the tree, but that also works. Alright. If you get unlucky with the baseball bat there, you only hit 1 or 2 of them. And you just have to kind of clean up from there. But optimally, you kill 3 with the bat. And then you get then you get the last guy with the heat action. So they tell us that Kanda is in a hotel very close to here. Because basically, Kanda tells those guys to go out and I don't think I can say this in a nice way, so I just won't even try. He basically tells them to go and find people to take to the hotel room. That's basically the easiest way I can say it. So he's expecting lovely visitors from around Kamurocho. Instead, he's getting Kiryu Kazuma to punch him instead. Right, so when we go into the hotel, Kanda's going to start running between a ton of different hotel rooms. We just have to go kick him out of all the rooms, and then we do a big fight with him. But before we do that, we got one little fight with a few Yakuza guys. There's actually a fire extinguisher on the ground here that I hope doesn't get destroyed by this combo. That was actually a really good fight. So all those guys are trying to knock into each other and knock between all the walls, right? And the fire extinguisher stayed as well. That stays like 2 seconds. Alright. So the first room Kanda runs to when he finds out that we're here is he runs up here. And he runs into this room here. You can actually click on loads of rooms in this hotel. There's different cutscenes of like couples that like trying to have a good time and all this other stuff, and you just ruin their evening by kicking down the door. But yeah, we just know where Kanda is. We're gonna go that. We're gonna grab this, and then we're gonna spray him with the fire extinguisher. That knocks him out. Play with the sofa because it gets in the way. I'm gonna run down here. Kanda's in the furthest away door down the corridor here, so he's in this room here. By interacting with this door, we actually drop the fire extinguisher, and it doesn't drop by our feet. I can show you where it drops. So the fire extinguisher drops over here by this table somehow, because of how this engine works. And there we go. Get around him. Thank you. Right, so in classic Yakuza fashion, the fire extinguisher is actually... Oh, get around the chair, please. She's doing a lot of damage. Right. And the last room Kanda's in, he's in this room here. Right. Now we've found Kanda. So next is the Kanda boss fight. There's actually a really specific strat I'm going to go for here, so hopefully I can get it. I can't get it now because that whiffed. I'm going to just go for a different version of it. Oh, I whiffed a shot. No. And now I have to sit through the cutscene. I messed that up completely. So what I was trying to do there is I was trying to shotgun, heat move, shotgun, heat move, shotgun. I accidentally pressed triangle without locking onto him, so I whiffed one of my shots. Doing this fight completely correctly skips this cutscene where he pulls the coin out of the wall. I missed the baseball bat and I missed the cup and I missed the shot, so everything went wrong. Oh, thanks. And Kanda, please leave me alone. That was just absolute garbage. Right. If you do that fight fine, you save like 40 seconds over getting hit by the cutscene, but I got hit by the cutscene, doesn't matter. That's like one of the hardest strats in this entire game. So it's incredibly easy to mess up. So it's annoying that I didn't get it though, because it is really cool. Alright. So now we've got to go on a little adventure around Kamurocho with Rakia. Rakia here wants to see Kamurocho a bit after we found Kanda. That is a fight spawn with the guy in the jacket there, so we're going to walk around him. So we're going to go have some sushi. We have to make sure that we split the bill with Rakia, because otherwise he like empties your pockets. He's like, oh, you're paying? Oh, let me spend all your money real quick. We only want to spend 4,000 yen. We don't want to spend any more than that. Oh, we're splitting the bill.
Yeah.
Right, so during this part, if you're playing this game casually, you're meant to stick with Rakia here and walk around like tons of Kamurocho and do sub-stories and go on a little adventure with Rakia. We don't need to do that. We're just going to tell Rakia to go away right now, basically. He gives us an item, which we sell later, and then we're going to move on. I need to go to Kamiyama's like specific modified weapon shop, which is actually on this side of the map, which makes it very, very easy to go to. Because I need to reload all 3 of my guns. Because I need both shotguns and the pistol for basically the next couple of boss fights and the set piece. So while I'm getting all my stuff reloaded, Paul, can you say some words?
Absolutely, I can. I can tell you a little bit about Crisis and what they do in their own words. So basically, when it comes to housing, they say, we help homeless people find and keep a rented home. We do this by working with landlords to ensure a supply of places to live and giving homeless people the tools and knowledge they need to rent successfully. Our Housing Resource Center provides information and training for housing professionals. The Help to Rent database lists private sector renting schemes across the UK. So thank you all so much for raising $2,000 already. Let's keep it going. Let's hit the 3,000. Let's hit 4,000 because I'm sure it's all going to an amazing, amazing cause. Back to you, Rebel.
Thank you. Right, so now that I've got all my stuff reloaded, we're gonna go talk to Date, and that ends the. Then wait, is it Date first or is it the? I can never remember which way around this is. I think it's the. Is it the bounty hunter bit? I can never remember. There's so many cutscenes. Oh god, there's a fight spawn there. I did not see that guy until like the last second. Yeah, this is what happens when you get into a fight. Hopefully there's like not too many guys here. Just stop, please. I did not see that guy until like the last second, blending into the ground. Alright, so yeah, hopefully don't give me an item. Oh, you gave me an item. I hate you. Yeah, it is the Bounty Hunter cutscene. I was like, is it Date or is it the Bounty Hunter cutscene? So this is a cutscene which tells us about one of the side activities where we basically need to go deal with like specific people. Doing all of these is part of the sub-story stuff, and it unlocks the final sub-story, if I remember correctly, where you can fight this game's super boss, Amon. But yeah, this is just a long cutscene because, if I remember correctly, these characters met in a different Yakuza game. I can't remember which one it is, but they talk like they know each other. There's so many different interconnected characters and stuff through different sub-stories and things that make references to sub-stories that you may not have done in other Yakuza games. You're just like, yes, sure they know each other. Alright, So he's telling us about how about like rewards and stuff we can get and all sorts of stuff, but we don't need to interact with this now that we've seen it. We can just leave and get on with it. Hopefully there's not a fight spawn down this alleyway here. And there is not. There can be one. It's hard to avoid that. It's hard to avoid one here. Is there one down here? There is one down here. So I'm going to have to get an up from that guy. Don't NPCs, please. There we go. Walk around those guys. And now we get to go see Date. I was like, which way around is the cutscenes? Is this way? So, we're going to talk to Date, and we talk to the woman that runs the bar, Mama. And then we ask, we're staying here, but can my friend Rakia also stay here? And then you end the chapter by going, we need to talk more, Date. And yeah, that ends the chapter. So the next chapter we're going into is the Mad Dog, and as you can assume, we're gonna go talk to Majima again, because Majima has more information about what's happening in Kamurocho and with the deeds and all this other stuff that we need to know about, or we think he may have more information. But so we have to take a wonderful trip up to Purgatory, which if you played Yakuza 1 and Yakuza 0 and Yakuza 2, you go to Purgatory a lot in those games for different reasons. Even in some of the later games like Yakuza 4, you go to the Purgatory. Yeah. So one nice thing, actually, this is just a piece of miscellaneous information. This bottom street here that I'm running across now, you actually cannot get into a fight spawn on this street in like any Yakuza game until the Dragon Engine games, because basically fight spawns needed a big area for the fight to take place in. So if you're in an area where there's not enough space for the fight to take place, it just can't take place. With the Dragon Engine games, they made it so you didn't need an area, you just needed to be able to, they just needed to see you. So the Dragon Engine games, yeah, that's not a viable strategy to run away there. But if you can run down there, if there's a fight spawn like very close to the floor, then not the floor, from that road, you can do that. Right, so this is Majima, push. We need to push Majima because he walks, and we need him to run. He's actually a lot easier to push than Date is, because we don't have to worry about trying to, like, walk. We can just run at him. If it was faster to just run to the end and wait for him, we would, but it saves a lot of time to just, like, nudge him forward. If you get a good push, you can, like, really go for it, but I didn't get many good ones there. I got a couple. Right, so we're now in the Colosseum. I've played Yakuza 1 and 2. Colosseum, well, Colosseum's also in 3 and no, it's in 5 as well. The Colosseum is an area of Purgatory that appears a lot. But yeah, we got a fight with Majima we got to do. This one's actually a little bit easier because we actually have some items to deal with him now. But I need to do a bit of damage to him before. So there you go, that's fine. Pull out the gun, shoot him, shoot him again, shoot him again, shoot him again. Oh, I need to kick him again. Thank you. If I did anything other than that kick, he would have triggered the feel the heat there. So he got up a little bit too quickly at the end there, so I couldn't get a heat attack off. So that's the way you recover that if that happens. Right. So that's the end of that chapter's really short. A lot of the chapters in this game, when you get later on, are actually pretty short. Chapter 10's kind of long, but chapter 4 is like the longest one in this game. Right. So now that we've punched Majima, he's actually willing to talk to us because that's how things work around here with Majima. He tells us that the florist is actually back in Purgatory, so we're going to go see the florist. The florist is like a guy that has an information network around all of Kamurocho, so he knows basically everything that's happening everywhere all at once. And he tells us about a deal that Hamazaki made with the Snake Flower Triads over some land or some money or the normal Yakuza stuff. And then we find out that they're actually trying to invade Kamurocho to I can't remember the specific reason, but it's to find something. And Rakia is out and about, so of course he's going to get mixed up in this. So we got to go save Rakia from the Snake Flower Triads. And just going to quickly change around my weapons. I'm going to put that there. There you go. Alright. So, we got to take a quick trip out of Purgatory now. We do come back here, but in the next chapter, we get spawned back in here, but fine. So, on the way out of this trip of Purgatory, we have a conversation with Nishida here, who tells us about the Colosseum being open. We don't need to interact with that anymore, so that's us done with that. We need to use the item box on the way out, because I have to sell the Expulsion 12 later. But in order to do that, I need it in the item box, because I need to throw away all my items at some point. And I don't want to throw it away, because it gives me money. It gives me 40k money, which basically pays for a trip back to Okinawa. Like, the only other trip I need to do between Okinawa and Kamurocho. It pays for that by itself. I'll run across this entire area. Right, so as soon as we get out of the Purgatory, not the Purgatory area, the Kamurocho Heights or whatever this is called, we go straight into this game's Kamurocho set piece, which is against the Snake Flower Triads. Right, so there we go. Try and hit these guys into different, there we go. That was actually a pretty good fight. Right, so that fight there can go kind of wrong in many different ways, but what you want is you want to hit them into different walls and different pieces of throwable objects and things, because it just deals additional damage when you hit them around. So this guy here, I need this guy's gun. It gives us a shoddy pistol. Right, so there's a guy in a purple shirt who we have to take out now. He doesn't have a name. He's just called Snake Trad Officer, so our nickname for him is Purple Shirt Guy, because he's wearing a purple shirt. So Purple Shirt Guy here is very silly and annoying, so we're going to grab the gun and shoot him a bunch. We'll grab a baseball bat. We're going to swing at him. Oh, and of course it whiffs. There you go. That was very slow. Because I whiffed the bag, because Kiryu locked onto the wrong guy. Right. This is my general chapter 8 nonsense that normally happens to me. So I got to build up my heat again, because I need to use a heat action. This guy should give me my heat. Grab the bike. We're going to lob the bike at this guy. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Right, so the guy with a gun over here. Grab that guy's gun. Avoid the guy with the sword, because he can hit you in the ass. Shoot these guys. Drop that gun, grab that gun, throw it in there. We throw it in there basically to stop it from despawning out of our hand. Of course the bat whiffs as well. Been a pretty poor set piece at the moment. It's fine. Right, so now we've got a quick chase section here. Purple shirt guy gets scared and runs off, so we're going to tackle him again. Easy. If you let him get away from you, that can kind of get very slow, very, very fast. So he tells us that Rakia is on a particular rooftop. We're going to go to that rooftop now. Thank you for kicking me. So in classic Yakuza 3 fashion, we don't need to deal with any of these guys. We're just going to run past all of them. That guy's going to hit me. Okay. The guy over... so this guy with the bike here. Just kind of run past him and not have to worry about him. Punch these fences. These guys with the swords can attack you, but they're not generally the most consistent at attacking you. Attacking you. There you go. Right. So there's one more guy. Well, there's a couple of guys I have to deal with. Want that. Right, so when I run past these guys, there's a couple of sword guys here who can hit you in the back, but like that. Oh, something I haven't actually mentioned. So throughout this run, whenever I'm using a pistol, I'm actually not locking on to enemies with this game's like fighting stance feature, because when you lock onto enemies and shoot, you shoot slower. So we just kind of line up a little bit and try and hope the auto aim doesn't screw us over too much. And you can shoot much faster. It saves like 45 seconds across the run to just shoot optimally. Oh, please. I was trying to heat action him, but he got way too fast. That's fine. And there we go. That's the end of the camera ratio set piece for this game. Right, so we go straight from that into a boss fight. This is Lao Kao Long. We're going to shoot him with a shotgun, stamp on his face, pull out a pistol, and just shoot him. And this finishes him off in like 20 seconds. If you let this guy get away from you, he has like mid-fight cutscenes and QTEs and stuff everywhere. Just by doing that, you basically stop him from playing. Right. I'm actually going to make a quick safety save here. Because we're actually coming up on kind of I say kind of, we're coming up on the RNG section of Yakuza 3. How many screens do you have to save? It's like 85 screens just to make one save. So this is chapter 9, known as the plot. This is basically where this game's entire plot gets like spelled out for you. Because most of the stuff I've been mentioning is stuff that the game doesn't really tell you until chapter 9. Most of the time. This is like one of the only Yakuza games where kind of it saves all the plot for like one massive plot dump of why everything is happening. Right, so I gotta go grab Rakia here. I've got to throw away my items. Alright. Now, you notice I left the blackjack amulets. We're going to go play some blackjack. Because blackjack amulets give us 5 free blackjacks each. And hopefully within those 10 blackjacks we get enough tokens to get enough money that we need to beat the game. To buy the items that we need to do the end of this game fast. So we're going to go here. We're not going to play low rate blackjack. We're going to play high rate blackjack. Right, so that's 1. That's 2. This is 3. 4. 5. Hopefully the game doesn't screw me over here. Okay, it didn't. Now it can screw me over again if I don't get what I need within these next 5. So that's 1, 2. Okay, good. So you need a high stakes round in order to get enough. Ultimately, you get it on the 4th blackjack round, but getting it on the 3rd's fine. So that section there has a 33% chance to just absolutely murder a speedrun of this game when you have like half an hour left of this run. Half an hour, 35 minutes left of this run. So yeah, it's a nice 67-33 split right at the end, like right before like the end of the game. So with all those tokens, I brought 20 platinum plates. The 20 platinum plates give me a bunch of money that we need to buy some items that we need to beat the game. So we are going to go over to Nakamiti Street and grab Date because he wants to come see the come to the next story beat with us. So after we see Rakia off, we're going to get a phone call from Tamiyama, who is a politician that appeared in an earlier cutscene, who tells us about a bunch of stuff related to what's happening and all this other stuff. But basically, he wants to meet with us. We need to go talk to him. Date wants to come with us. While I'm going through the dialogue and grabbing Date, Paul, can you feel free to go ahead?
Absolutely, yeah. At this point, I can just remind you all about some of the prizes we have in store. So basically, if you donate a total, a sum total of the amounts I'm about to list off, you will be in the draw for each of these prizes. So, for $10 worth of donations, you can be in the draw for a UKSG Red beanie. With $5 more, you're in with a chance for a PS1 poster. At $20, we have a UKSG Red hoodie, though do be mindful that one's a size large. And finally, if you're in Europe, you might be interested in this top prize of $25. Well, you're not getting the $25, but if you donate $25, yes, I love
Cashback, let's go.
Yes, it is 7 a.m. I am, shall we say, speaking is difficult for me. But yeah, if you live in Europe, then you might be in with a chance of winning a Final Fantasy VII Remake Material Ultimania book, which is very lovely. So, first of all, shout-outs to Huds601 and Nanaki Emi for providing some of these prizes. And yeah, get those donations in if you want to be in with a chance of getting some lovely stuff. Back to you, Rebel.
Thank you, Paul. Right. So I just took a quick stop to Ebisu Pawn there to dump all of my platinum plates on that guy and get and oh god, that fight spawn is gonna nail me if I'm not careful. Oh, I had no chance to get past the NPCs there. If he had stayed facing the other way, he probably would have been fine. There you go. So that's 2 fight spawns in this run. Getting a run without any fight spawns is actually kind of difficult a lot of the time, because it depends on where they spawn and what they decide to do, where they walk and stuff. There's a bunch of variables that go into avoiding them. It's always one of those things where like every Yakuza run eventually becomes, when you optimize them to the point where one fight spawn just kills a run completely. So 2 is always just like, whenever I get it, I'm like, no, my time. Right, there is a fight spawn there. That guy in grey is a fight spawn. So we're going to go around him completely by going in an area where he can't spot us. So the car which we need to go into is actually this car here with that guy in the suit there. But we need to go to the weapon shop first and cash in our massive amount of money. So Date here. Date, we can't open the weapon shop with him here. But as I mentioned earlier, he's more than fine with us walking into this weapon shop and in front of him buying 13 pistols. Oh. Please pause. And equipping them just in front of him. Right, so the pistols we use throughout throughout the rest of the run to deal with boss fights and enemy fights as fast as possible. So this is where the plot decides to get dumped on us. So we're going to go see Tamiyama. Tamiyama here tells us about a bunch of different things. So we have like 5 dialogue options we've got to go through. So it tells us about the purpose of the military expansion bill, which is the kind of the whole idea of like why he wants the 2 plots of land. He doesn't actually want to build the military thing. He actually wants to flush out a rogue part of the American CIA, which are like dealing in like the black market and a ton of other stuff, if I remember correctly, or like some shady stuff. I don't remember what it is, but basically, he's talking about the guy I fought earlier, the Men in Black. That's a guy called Richardson. So Richardson's like the leader of this like shadow organization, and that's kind of this game's whole story. And Mine is also in like cahoots with them because he benefits within the Tojo clan of getting more power and blah blah blah. General Yakuza get more power, money, money, money. Anyway, we walk outside. Security guards know that Kiryu's here, so they get very upset, and we're just gonna start shooting them. There we go. So now that we've just murdered a bunch of people, obviously. Reminder, Kiryu doesn't kill people.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you mean? Kiryu's never killed anyone.
What you have to remember is that cutscene Kiryu and gameplay Kiryu exist on different planes of existence. That's how that's how you justify what he does to some of these people, where he gives them like a concussion that would last 8 years.
We interrupt this speedrun of Yakuza 3 to bring you Split, the movie.
Yeah. Right, so now that we are basically done in Kamurocho, we're going to go back to Okinawa. So Tamiyama tells us the favor he wants us to do for him is, you probably missed it, but after we beat Tamashiro in Chapter 3, there's a cutscene where Daigo is visiting Nakahara. Oh, I'm short on money somehow. What is this? Oh, I forgot to sell the expulsion. Oh, there's a fight spawn there. I'm going to have to go sell the expulsion real quick. Oh, this is kind of annoying. It's fine. Yeah, so what we're saying... Oh, yeah, so he wants us to go and protect one of his politician buddies who is... wow, now this game is like... Wants us to go and have one of his politician buddies with protecting him from... who we believe is the guy that's shooting everyone, Joji Kazuma, who's Kazuma's... Shintaro Kazuma, who's Kiryu's adopted dad, like his brother. I forgot to sell this bloody gun. Get out of my inventory. I literally put it in the item box so I could sell it, but... Oh, and then it gives me 69,000, of course. Right. I'm going to have to walk up to this taxi now because I'm closer to this one. So you need 30k to travel between Kamurocho and Okinawa. I just lost a ton of time for no real reason. Because I forgot to do something that I normally do. Right, so... Yeah, so he wants us to protect this businessman guy from Joji. When in fact it's actually Richardson that's shooting everyone. He's the one that shot Daigo and shot Nakahara, but yeah. That's a very annoying mistake to make, SMH. Right, so now we're going back to Okinawa. Alright, so now we get into the bulk of what Chapter 10's about. So Chapter 4 and Chapter 3 is a lot of helping out the children around the orphanage with different problems. Because we basically have to wait until, I think it's tomorrow evening in-game. We basically have a day where we don't have anything to do, so we're just going to help out with doing stuff with the kids at the orphanage. So there's a cutscene here where he comes back, and then he tells Nakahara, Mikio, and Rikiya here what's happening and what's going on, and how he basically has to wait. Oh no, so this is when Tamiya tells him that he has to wait until tomorrow. Alright, so... the start of this section of help out the children at the orphanage. Taichi and Mitsuo are going to go play wrestling on the on the beach. Then Haruka's like, it's Taichi's turn to go food shopping. Why hasn't he gone yet? So Kira's like, I'll go tell him he needs to go. And so that's what we're gonna go do. So we're gonna hop down to the beach and go talk to Taichi and Mitsuo. And Taichi says, I'll go in a minute. Don't worry, I will go. But he wants to spar with Mitsuo a little bit more. And if I do this right... Yes! So if you hold dialogue skip too early, Mitsuo flies into the background and then walks up again. All it does is lose like 3 seconds, but it's always funny to see. So while they're wrestling, within the 5 seconds that Kiryu runs back up to the orphanage, Taichi faints, and the doctor says he may have asthma, which upsets Taichi because he wants to become a wrestler, and he can't become a wrestler if he has breathing issues. So in order to make him feel better, Rukia has the absolutely brilliant idea of maybe Kiryu and Rukia should have a wrestling match. So Rukia's going to tell us that we're going to have a wrestling match, and he's going to set up the ring. So we need to go take a little bit of a walk while he's setting up the ring. So we're going to go to back into the city area. But because it takes him absolutely no time to do this, we're going to walk back into here. Oh. Please give me the dialogue, thank you. That normally works, but yeah. He's ring's all ready, so we can just go now. Alright, so the wrestling match actually isn't really a traditional fight in this. Like, it is a fight, but instead of it being like a fight where we have to just beat Rukia in a fight, we have to do like specific tasks to basically entertain the audience. So this is Dragon versus Ricky Mask. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to throw him. We have to break away from a throw. And then we need to throw him again. Now we need to drop kick him. Oh, I whiffed in. This is where it gets annoying if you miss the drop kick. There you go, there's one. There's two. Right, so the next part here, we have to get knocked down by him. Okay, Rukia, please. Rukia has a bunch of moves he can do. There's only a few. That doesn't count as a knockdown game, thank you. So that as a throw, it doesn't have the knockdown property, but we're basically waiting for Rukia to do any move. Don't do that move on me again. Any other move will do. Come on, Rukia. Come on. Thank you. There we go, drop kick him. And then there's a heat action. There we go. And that's the end of the wrestling match. So the overhead jump into throw onto the floor doesn't have the knockdown property, so it doesn't count towards that objective. And sometimes he'll just sit there and do that move over and over and over again. He has he has like 5 or so different combo routes he can do, or different attacks he can do. Some of them he'll do half a combo, then just stop for no reason. And you're just like, just knock me over, please. Alright, so after the wrestling match, Haruka kind of runs off into the city, and he's like, wait, is she going on a date? Maybe I should go spy on her. Yes, that sounds plausible. This sounds awfully okay. Thumbs up on that one, Kiri. Right, so Haruka is over by the west taxi point, so we're going to go to the west taxi point over here. It saves like 2 or 3 seconds to take a taxi over here. And she's over here looking at a flyer for a job. And she's like, oh no, runs away, and Kiri's like, what is she doing? I must follow her further. So we're going to go around here. Shout out to this sub-story we're going to run by. This sub-story here with that guy on the bridge. He wants to commit suicide. We just kind of tell him not to. In the sub-story, then he's like, okay, here's a drink. Yeah. And then that's the sub-story that you used to have to do in the run to trigger another sub-story where we get 200,000 free yen to go pay off someone's debt. But if you just choose to keep the 200,000 yen, you just run away with that guy's money. which is what we used to do in the speedrun before we got the Shadow Blade. Right, so Haruka's talking to a couple of shady guys there. Kiryu's like, who are these shady men? And she's like, don't worry, it's no one. So we're going to continue following Haruka around. And so she's over here by this bridge. Stood on this bridge. And all these different guys are walking up to her and receiving envelopes from her. So Kiryu is like, this is some shady business we got going on here for a potential. And then afterwards, when they go back to the orphanage, she's then feeding the children at the orphanage like a completely like a really fancy like hot pot style dinner, and they're like, oh, this is insane. And Kiryu's like, where the hell did you get the money for this? Where did you get this? And that's the. And that's where the shady part of what's happening here goes in. So basically, the two guys that give her that like she was talking to basically gave her like a part-time job handing out envelopes to people, and they give her money for doing so. All right, so we've got to take a quick trip back to the orphanage where we realize, oh, Haruka is somehow finding money to buy this extremely lavish food, but we got to skip the cutscene so we can't see the food, sadly. Should be a second there. There it is. You get to see the food sticking out the pot, and they're like, "Damn, this food was insane." Then she's like, "I gotta go back into town real quick." And Kira's like, "No," and she's like, "I'm going anyway." So we're like, "No, putting the foot down. We gotta go find Haruka." If you actually hold the control stick too early there's actually some instances in this game where if you are holding forward too early, the game just reverses all of your inputs. So you hold forward, you run backwards. Right, so we don't have to run anywhere around Okinawa. We just need to go up here, avoid any fight spawns that could be here. There is one on the corner there, but I don't need to worry about it. Right, so Haruka is here on this corner. Thank you for saying Nani behind me like 4 times. So these two shady guys are the guys she was talking to before. They are the suspicious men at this point. And they are like, yeah, the girl's chilling by the vending machines, go grab the thing from her. So basically, what we find out through this next bit of cutscene is that she's handing out forged like bank cards and other cards to people. And the reason why they hired a small child to do this is because if the police officer walks up to her like this, she just goes, "I'm not doing anything, sir," and he goes, "Have a nice day." So Kiryu here is like, this isn't on, but we can't actually do anything about it just now. We need to wait and see on a bunch of these different things. We've got to wait and see. If you step in too early, you have to go through all these different wait and see dialogues again. So you always make sure you don't go too early. So there's a guy in brown, guy in white. I think there's a guy in... Is there a guy in blue? I don't remember. There's one more. Yeah. Oh, it's blue. There he is. Then if I remember correctly, it's a policeman now that walks up to her. I think. Yes, it is a policeman. And then the suspicious men come back, and that's when we can step in. When the suspicious men return. And now we can step in. Now we're allowed to. There's the forged cards. They're like, no, we are not suspicious. Kira's like, yes, but you are, though. Now I'm going to punch you. This is exactly what we live for. Right, so... There we go. If you do that fight right, you can actually do that in one combo if they line up correctly, but they didn't really line up in the correct way to do so. So the whole reason why Haruka was actually doing this kind of part-time job is because she overheard a conversation between Rukia and Mikiko here, who were talking about the fact they don't have enough money to pay the rent at their Yakuza office, and she thought that they were having issues with money at the orphanage. And Kira's like, I don't have any issues with money. And she's like, oh, I misread the situation. And they're like, yeah, no, we're the ones that screwed on money here. Don't worry about where you're at. You somehow talk until the sun goes down, because of course. And now we're going to go back to the orphanage. You can actually get hit by a fight spawn pretty commonly going back here a lot of the time, I find. If you're not paying attention, because it gets silly when they're dark. I should be fine. Am I fine? Yeah, I'm good. There's no fight spawns. Thank you, video game, for giving me appropriate RNG. Alright, so. Quick trip back. One thing which is thankful about Chapter 10 is once you get past a couple of cutscenes in Chapter 10, it stops giving you the option to go back to Kamurocho, which if you select at this point in the game, just kills your run because you don't have enough money to go back to Okinawa where you need to be. Alright. So, Haruka's like, I gotta go have a bath, and Kiryu's like, yes, feel free to go have a bath. We're gonna go to the main room real quick because we can see Ayako talking to Izumi. And Izumi's basically asking for a bit of money so she could buy like a toy for Mame the dog. And then Shiro's like, Ayako, can you help me with all my homework? She's like, yeah, sure. And this kind of part of the story is how Ayako's like the oldest of the children, so she's like the big sister to all of them, and they all kind of rely on her, like over-rely on her for help. And Kiryu notices this, and he's like... And then he has a quick conversation with Haruka about it. Oh yeah, her walk cycle is also amazing. The arm swing is quite wide. Right, so between that night and the next morning, the money that Izumi borrowed didn't actually go on a dog toy. She in fact did not buy the dog toy. Went and brought some sweets with it instead. So Ayako's like, you wasted what I gave you. And then Shiro, who asked for help with his homework, didn't read the assignment and then blames Ayako for it. Is basically what happens. So obviously Ayako gets upset and runs off. Kiryu's like stood in the yard like what the hell is going on? So like before when I said that Kiryu calls an emergency meeting and throws sus at everyone, he's about to do that again. But this time he specifically calls out individual people and goes, what has Ayako done for you? Yes, she's helped you with this. You need to thank her more. And he just does this for all of them. So each of them, a lot of stuff is actually stuff that happens within the game, and some other piece of dialogue that I would have skipped over and I forget exists because I haven't read the dialogue in this game in God knows how long. Right, so now we've got to go find Ayako. Ayako is up by the East Plaza. If you hold... Okay, that's fine. Alright. Alright, so we're going to take a quick taxi trip up to the East Plaza. And then we get one of the funniest chase sections in this game. So this is the final chase section we're coming up on. And we have to chase Ayako around Okinawa. Alright, right here, around that. There's that group of 3 girls to the right is actually a sub-story. They talk about ghosts. And then you're just like, oh yes, ghosts do obviously exist. Right, so Ayako here is like, I don't want to go back to the orphanage, I'm gonna run away. Kira's like, yeah, don't do that. So we're gonna chase Ayako around Okinawa. And this little girl with her ice skate running style just is going to outrun Kiryu the entire way. So, in classic chase in Yakuza 3 fashion, we need to avoid all the NPCs because the only way you can really lose time in this section is by hitting NPCs and bonking on them. Because you lose all your speed when that happens. Another thing that can happen is Ayako can get caught on NPCs and stop running. If that happens, if you run too far, you can fail this if she gets caught and you run too far ahead of her. That has happened to me before. It loses so much time and it's very upsetting because otherwise this is basically an auto-scroller if you don't make any mistakes like hitting NPCs. Alright, so this section's kind of annoying because there's loads of NPCs. Actually, not that many spawn this time. It's kind of lucky. I like the pop-in on those ones, though. Alright. Something else that gets disabled for this is in the chase section we had with Mac, it tutorialized being able to tackle, and then we also tackled the purple shirt guy. Thankfully for this, the tackle feature of the chases is disabled because Kiryu would never tackle a child. So we can't do that here. So we basically just have to chase her through 3 different parts. Kiryu and Aka are both dying here because they've basically run around this entire area, and they're still just going to continue to sprint. So I've got to do one more loop of Okinawa. They're like, I can't keep running, but they're running anyway. What's funny is so normally in most chase sections, when the chase bar of the person you're chasing runs out, the chase will end. This one doesn't. This one ends when they get to a certain point. So the chase bar runs out around this corner up here, and then you just still have to kind of run around the rest. So the chase bar's gone, and you can't see where your proximity bar is between you and her. So if you accidentally like run into something and lose her, you can just lose because you can't see how close you are. All right, so now the bridge here is where this chase ends, and NPCs love to get in the way there. Thank you. Right, so end of that chase, Kiryu goes, yeah, I get it, things suck, but also as a family, we do still love each other. Yeah, let's go back to the orphanage. That's basically what happens. Right, so we're gonna run back to the orphanage, and then we get told that we can go and deal with the guy we've been waiting to deal with, which is Joji Kazuma. Oh, I left Ayako in the dust there. She was so far behind me. Kiryu's like, we're getting on now, and she's like walking.
So much for trying to convince her to come back.
I know, right? You just have a much faster running speed in comparison to her. See, they're all waiting to be like, sorry, Ayako. So now we get the phone call from Tamiya, who tells us, yes, we can now go deal with Mr. Joji Kazuma. So we're gonna go to the nightclub and have a boss fight with the Kazuma. Right. So we're gonna run back into the downtown. Kiryu's like card for traveling between the orphanage and the downtown must be like racking up like hella loyalty points with the amount you do it in this run. There could be a fight spawn around here. Nope, I'm good actually. There's a fight spawn on that corner there, but that's fine.
Nani?
Nani? Right. So get around that guy. Go around that guy. Oh, okay. There we go. So we're gonna go inside there, the Canal Grande. So this is the boss fight with Joji Kazuma. And so we're just going to shoot him 3 times and unload an entire gun into him. This fight has a mid-fight QTE, a bunch of QTEs and other stuff. We're just going to skip all of it by stun-locking him with a pistol. That's the Joji fight. Right, so Chapter 11. So Chapter 11, we basically find out more information from Joji that he's not the one that shot Daigo and Nakahara. It was in fact Richardson that did it. And then during Kiryu having this conversation with Joji, Tamashiro appears in front of the orphanage with a bulldozer and destroys it. So during these cutscenes I'm skipping now, a bulldozer runs through the orphanage. Oh, there's Kiryu doing the Arthur fist meme. And then after that we're going to go deal with Tamashiro again because he has kidnapped Nakahara. Because at this point, Nakahara is still recovering from being shot by Richardson. So he's still a little bit on the weaker side. Alright. Run through here. Go back to the orphanage. Again, his card is getting hella use. Right, and something really fun is you can run through the destroyed wall to activate the cutscene. Right, so now we're going to go back into downtown again because we need to go take a taxi from downtown to the bull ring. And the bull ring is where Tamashiro and all of his grunts are keeping Nakahara. Go to the bull ring. Right, so we have to do a quick short fight with the Tamashiro grunts, and then Tamashiro himself. 1, 2. There you go. Reminder: Kiryu doesn't kill people.
I'm just busy with the
Right, so now Kiryu's going to deal with this ball. We're going to turn this ball over because Kiryu obviously has enough strength to hold back a ball and turn it over like that. Then Tamashiro appears. Tamashiro has a gun in this fight, and guns are generally scary, but also something scary about this fight. If you fight this fight casually, he has a bunch of cutscenes where like he summons additional grunts. If you shoot him with a pistol, like I'm doing now, you skip all of those. He can do it like 3 or 4 times. That skips all of them because you stun lock him out of it with the pistols. And that's the end of Tamashiro. And that's the end of chapter 11. We're going into chapter 12 now, which is the final chapter of the run. Which is funny because in a lot of Yakuza games, you're used to Yakuza games being like something like 16 to 18 chapters. This game's like chapter 12 now. That's all we need. So we get basically a trip back to Kamurocho, courtesy of Kazuma, who gives us like a private jet trip. We're going to walk up to Serena here, but before we go into Serena, we get to meet this lovely CIA operative, the foreign man, who introduces himself as Rick Langley. Says Joji says we're all good, walks away, and then he never appears again. Shout outs to Rick Langley, our boy. Right, so we are basically... Haruka comes with us because you have the ability to walk around Kamurocho. It's like... So in most Yakuza games, Kiryu's kind of like, this may be my last fight. So in this game, it's like, this may be my last fight. I should spend more time with my first adoptive daughter. And then... but instead, you just go, you stay here, me go hospital. That's kind of like all that happens there. So we're going to run back to hospital. You can get hit with a fight spawn during this incredibly short trip up Tenkaichi Street here. It's very annoying. You just get to chapter 12, fight spawnless the whole way, get hit by a fight spawn there, lose 40 seconds. Bruh. Right, so we're going to go talk to the taxi. Kazuma phones us and goes, don't worry, the CIA, we all have your back. Do not worry. Then this taxi's like, are you going to get in or what? Make sure you don't click Okinawa there, because you will just kill your run right at the end if you have more than 30k. Right, so this is the hospital. So the first fight here, I need to unload some pistols. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm actually doing a route where we actually use exactly the right amount of bullets that we have in all of our guns in order to do this. So I'm having to use specific amounts of shots on specific parts to do this as optimally as possible. I whiffed 1 shot there, which means I had to hit 3 guys at the end rather than 1 or 2. Right. There's blood everywhere. Don't worry, he doesn't kill people. Don't worry. We're in a hospital as well, so it's all good. Pull out that gun there. Right, I'm going to go for my nice little run around the hospital. Right, so I don't actually have to fight most of the guys here in normal Yakuza 3 fashion. I just have to deal with this chair guy because he's in the way. There's another chair guy I've got to deal with. So the whole point of this section is I'm running up the hospital to go fight the Hakudo captain, who's like just the boss of the captain that's in charge of all these Yakuza members. But we got a nice way we can deal with him if I can line up correctly. Shoot that guy. You're meant to run around the entire floor here to get to him, but if you just go here, you can go and shoot him from the other side. Easy. Punch. We need that gun from this guy. Avoid that. I didn't mean to get hit by the stun. Alright. Run through here. Alright, so on this version of the game, these guys with guns here tend to be quite passive. I say 10, they're probably going to hit me now. But generally, they're like not too bad. Kiryu, don't lock onto that guy, please. Auto lock can be very annoying. This guy here with the Uzi is normally the one that's going to hit you. There you go. Right. Come on, gun. Yes, I've gun. So there's two guys who are going to pop into the lift here and try and hit me, but I've got a gun, so I'm going to shoot him. It's my up gun. Yeah, so I'm basically making sure that I have enough bullets in my guns. I need my up one for a boss fight that's coming up, and then my left one for some regular guys after that. Oh yeah, there's a QTE here. We just have to mash X. Unlike the first time we saw this exact same QTE, which is press X once in Tamashiro's office right at the start of the game, this one here is mash X. And I just got to wait for the lift to end, so I'm just going to spin around for a second. There we go. Right, now we can finally go to Daigo's room, which is where we've been heading this whole time. Run around here. And we're going into Daigo's room, which is this one here. Right, but we don't find Daigo, we find Richardson, and Richardson tries to kick us, but we don't really care about him.
Let's go.
So we're just going to shoot him instead and tell him to go away. I'm done with Richardson. Get around the door, please. The door, the pillar. But yeah, after unloading 11 bullets into Richardson, he kind of survived. So got that nice hand movement right there. Alright, now we gotta go to the roof because he tells us that Daigo got taken to the roof. Right, so there's a bunch of police guys here, the CIA agents who are working with Richardson. I didn't mean to kick that one. And this is my last set of guns. Grab that, throw that over there. Grab that. So I actually need these shoddy pistols in order to have enough bullets, but I also have to throw them, and I have to hit them with. I have to hit Richardson here with the thrown pistols. Grab that gun. Making sure I get this right. And unload one pistol into him. I should have 3 bullets left in this one by the end. Go. There's Richardson down again with pistols. He actually lives that as well. He appears in the final cutscene of the game. One of the final cutscenes after the final boss fight. One more elevator ride. I've got to unload 8 bullets from one of my 4 pistols in a second here when the CIA guys start dropping through the through the top of the lift. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There you go. Right, so I should have, yeah, that's 7 and that's 15. Yeah. Alright, so this is the final boss fight. Time comes up at the end of the at the end of this fight. But there needs to be a cutscene first. It's the voice lines aren't playing. That's weird. They're supposed to be playing. This room is cursed. Runs are just like I can't even tell Kira. I've never had that happen before with the voice lines don't play. They didn't play. It wasn't just me, was it?
I'm just trying to say, please don't say this room is cursed. We're trying to book it again for next event.
Anyway. Alright, time's... Oh god, I'm pulling out the wrong gun. Time's at the end of this fight. I'll call it. And... time. I can't believe the voice lines didn't play. That is so cursed. So yeah, we just unload 20-something bullets into this guy instead of punching him. We have like 500 bars of EXP. We don't need any of them. We don't need any of them. So yeah, that was Yakuza 3. Hope you enjoyed. Shout out, I'll give a couple of shout outs. Shout outs to all the Yakuza guys. Especially with this game, there is Tapioca, Froob, Metza found a bunch of stuff for this game. But yeah, if you want to learn any of the Yakuza games, there are all on speedrun.com. There is a Discord. There's notes for like all of them in some capacity. So if you want to run some Yakuza, come and join us. Other than that, I'm all good. I can't believe the voice lines didn't play. That was very cursed. That's about all I've got.
Well, it was a lovely run, nevertheless. Thank you very much, Rebel, for that lovely Yakuza 3 Remastered run. Coming up afterwards, it is Mirror's Edge, and it is going to be, I believe, the 2P1C controller incentive has been met, and I think most aptly it has been put by Hypnotics on his $25 donation saying, "Gimme the chaos." So, don't go anywhere. It's going to be absolutely amazing. We're going to have a quick intermission, and after that, it's Mirror's Edge time.